Hey there.
How you doing there? We're on in just a few minutes, so we're kind of in that pause mode. We'll be doing a quick conversation and teeing up some points of interest on culture, and then pulling Craig on.
Good. I'm excited.
Do, do. Perfect.
I know that Craig is very prepared.
Oh yeah.
I did. I did a little bit of research.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Not on
Research
Craig
on.
necessarily, because Craig's going to tell us all about it. I did some research on some.
Okay. Okay. All right. And on that, is there anything in particular like we're wanting to hit on the intro?
There, there are
Question
so
points. I
many
don't want to dive into
things.
specifics because we're going to do that in four
Yeah,
minutes.
right? There are
Yeah.
so many things. No, but I think overall it's just a lot of people spend their time and we think about everything that happens, not just life, but get down and just say, I don't know if we've got the magic bullet though. We're not putting this.
We're 3 minutes out. Up quick. Soon it'll be 2 minutes.
How time works.
And then one
And
minute.
then
Yeah.
it'll
Well,
be
it
one,
doesn't say like savings.
right? Light savings. Now
I
there's a
should have.
topic in.
I should have bring that up. Yeah, I know.
Oh boy, I don't know who it benefits. I heard retail
Farmers.
though, farmers and
Retail.
retail. Stop after.
It's a business decision.
Well, it morphed into that.
Is
It
that right?
started with farmers, then it went to bus stops, children,
Okay. Okay.
and then it went to retail. I don't know.
I believe it. I believe it.
I believe anything on the internet. Everything.
It's always true. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. You read it. It's gotten even better now because, like, you look something up and it will generate a response. Whatever you ask, you don't even need an article.
right. That's exactly right. It'll summarize, aggregate, do all that.
Did you follow the like journalist that wrote about like they Googled how to make a pizza, the generated snippet told them to use construction glue and cardboard paper.
I did not. I did. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's an
Look it up.
interesting
It's fun.
approach.
Yeah, and someone went and they like maybe it was a journalist. They looked and they tried to find the snippet, like the reference in the snippet, and I guess they said that it was pulled from Reddit. So like they trained on Reddit's
It's
data, and it was a
perfect. And,
joke.
as long as it was food grade construction, food grade glue, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yep. We're just flipping back there. I'm back and forth on lighting. I can never get, quite the right
that's part of the
exposure.
perfectionist.
I know, man. It's hard. Well, we are ready to start. Are
All
you
right, kick it off.
recording yet?
Optimize
Okay.
and elevate.
Woo! Welcome on, guys.
Here you go.
Welcome on, guys. So it is a bright and cheery November 6th. We are in the middle of the Wednesday. Typically we do these around noon as a live event with our audience. However, today we're doing on three to accommodate a special guest, Craig Bielik. And on that, Patch, you had some great notes. He's in the audience there. Um, you had some great notes on culture and building community that you'd researched, particularly with our guest today and his topic.
It's interesting, Jake. I was having a conversation just before I about culture, what culture does, and we got on the topic of you know how do teams consistently that's in sports vernacular or whether that's in a business team vernacular, whatever it is, there's a culture behind that. And it got me thinking about how do they build the culture? It is it, hey, we have to win? Is it the hard line, or is it more of an atmosphere thought that you're part of the team, as part of the team, you're a big part of. Anyway, that wasn't really where I started, but it was interesting that you said culture. That's what I was talking about 15, 20 minutes. And it was a great conversation. But anyway, I think today what we wanted to talk about was um, life work balance. Everybody's
Yeah.
got so much going on these days, not only at work, but life. It seems like we're just getting piled up daily to do list. Is it really that much different from her or life? It's more,
Yeah.
oh, your thought.
Well, and I think once you start a project, the amount of things that then go into that project and the details and areas you want to add on, they expand, right? What becomes a one person's job becomes two or three or four, right? And we're in an information sector. And so if you're working on a project in particular that involves a lot of writing or meetings, people, presentation, you're going to have to do a lot of refinement. Just before we started, we were joking about, our guest has a shoot that he's been working on. And when he's doing a small project, it's just that one, him shoot it with your phone type thing that corporate says. When you get everyone on there, for something that they're wanting to get together, you typically add seven or eight people on, and it becomes a much more complex project. And so I think you can go for the most minimum approach, but as you get going and going, and ideas start flourishing, it's easy to expand out there. And I think that's where role strain creeps in pretty easily. There's more going on, and
Oh,
it's
does that
harder to.
lead to burnout? You think?
Oh, totally,
Right.
totally,
Well, here's a statistic:
totally. Okay, let's hear it.
37% of people, according to
Yeah,
37% of employees.
I believe that.
So, but what that says to me is that 63% of people don't feel overwhelmed, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
what is that 63% of people doing or feeling, or what is their approach at work that makes them feel okay with, or is it 63% that don't have bosses that overlook?
Those are the last easy jobs, the last jobs with pensions that you're, enjoying. Just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah.
Cigars and cognac.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So, as our topic is kind of how to juggle and work life balance, I want to introduce something that one of our earlier guests gave us that said a balance integration. So, work life integration. I think it's a great way to approach it, thoughtful way, where we're kind of switching the idea of balancing and separating work to more, I know that part of my, right?
Yeah.
So, Oh, another thing that happens at work is that burnout. Talked about that. Um, but if 37% think that they're overworked, that's a different scenario and statistic than 44% who feel burned out, specifically burned out. I am overworked and I'm done with this. I'm just not happy. Right?
Yeah.
To me, 4% of people, close to half, are just ready to say, I'm done. How did they get there compared to 60% of people don't feel overwhelmed?
I think that's a great question. And I'm excited to hear from our guest more on his approach to that, because I think he's got a really interesting track record of community engagement and keeping that on top of a full time, work schedule. But I don't know myself. I often get a little bit bogged down. I might be somewhere in the middle of that statistic. I don't know if there's people that aren't burnt out, ready to quit, but by the time the day's over, they're like, "Yeah, it's 5,
And
right?"
that goes to integration, right?
Sure.
So you're in the middle, which means me, based on those statistics, that you're balancing but integrating
Oh yeah,
life. That's
yeah,
great. But what's the end goal of all of this? If we're juggling and talking about work and we're talking about life, talking about integrating, what's the ultimate goal? What are we working for? Right?
yeah, yeah. That's a good point.
I
For you, it
say
might
it's
be
to
time in the
enjoy
Ozark.
life. I say,
Yeah, yeah,
how do we
yeah.
get there? And having these
Sure.
types of to do it and bringing in people like Craig, who has done it for a very long, done it well. I'm super excited to hear more about his life story. Hopefully, yeah, another thing, statistic I was talking about earlier that I want to start tracking. That is how many times I laugh or how many days in a
Sure.
row I laugh. To
Hmm.
me, I think that's a right, that laughing you're finding
I think
humor at the
I think
very
that's a
least.
wonderful thing to just tally at the end of the day. You're like 47 times. I told a good
Hey,
joke.
that's
At least
progress,
half of it.
right?
Yeah.
I'm going for 50 tomorrow, baby.
Woo.
But I think Craig coming on and with his kind of side hustle, if you will, is comic, right?
Yeah.
Humor is his gig, hobby, actually a part-time career for.
Yeah, and as someone who's known him outside of this interview series, outside of this discussion series, and what we do here at Mingle, I can just say he's phenomenal at making fun of some of the most corporate or what most people consider just run of the mill type events. He makes them exciting and good to be around in a really lively audience, right? And so I think there's a lot of answers in there we can poll and hopefully learn something about the question you
Let's
pulled.
get him introduced.
Let's do it. And Craig Bielik is a marketing director for Ogden Regional Hospital. He served on over 30 boards. He's performed over 546 comedy shows and made over 70 television appearances. And he quotes, "He has one awesome family," and I'd agree with that. His kids, his grandkids are great, and so let's pull him up. Craig, we're excited to have you. Yep. And Craig, if you could just hit the raise hand button right there. There we go. I got to kind of reverse that so it's a little bit awkward, but here we go, pulling you up. Hey,
You
how
can
are
hear
you?
me? Okay, you
Yep.
guys can hear
Yep.
me and everything.
Yeah, we can
Oh,
hear you
thank you.
great.
Thank you. And I like that introduction. I sure hope I can live up to it. And John, to your point, the way I would look at it is 37% of people say they're overworked. And to me, that means 63% are too tired or busy to take the survey. When I go out and chat with people, holy mackerel, what I hear is completely different. But a lot of that
Yeah.
might have to do with the profession that I'm in. Marketing people are constantly busy by nature of the business, and a lot of them are very high energy people who love to be busy, and it's kind
Yeah.
of it's kind of a hand in glove for this profession, and it does take a lot of energy. And I have to say this, and I have never felt like I was burnt. There's a lot of times that I felt very tired. There's a lot of times when I'd say I need a day or two off, but I have to tell you that there's only been a handful of times in the 43 years I've worked in this profession where I've really felt like I wanted to quit. And that was just a very temporary thing. By morning, I felt,
Great.
um, and it's been a great profession. Um, I think I was cut out for it. Let me put it that way. I was kind of made for it. And we'll talk about some of the reasons I feel that way as we go through this. I am excited to kind of share with you my journey, and also just kind of let you know who I am.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Um,
Greg, I've got
that
your
that
slide deck up here. If you
yeah,
can't read that, there's a hide users button up at the top corner. You can go and hide our faces.
nice.
And I'll let you get into it.
Nice. Yeah. My actual title here at the hospital is Communications and Community Engagement Director for Ogden Regional Medical Center. They changed our titles about 5 years ago. It was really kind of some semantics and also some shifting in responsibilities and roles. Um, I've been here 18 years. I'm a lifelong resident of Ogden, Utah. I graduated from Weber State College back then. It wasn't a university
Woo.
in 1983. Um, my degree, go ahead, Jake,
Yep.
is actually in art. I back then they didn't offer communication degrees, and I always wanted to work in advertising. I thought that would be a great field. I had some artistic talent, so what I did was I got a BS in art and a graphic design emphasis. It was the first year they offered that, and graphic design back then was tools. It was pen, knives, typesetting machine, those sort of things. There was not a computer on campus when there probably was for the IT, certainly not in the art. Got a minor in marketing. I felt art and marketing. So go
Yeah.
ahead, Jake.
Yep. You're good.
Still like
So
to paint. I still find time to oil paint. I've been on kind of a flower kick lately. I like different angles. I like different light sources. My family is kind enough to hang some of them in the house, and we have quite a few paintings in the home, but I still love it. It's my primary, one of my primary loves. Go ahead, Jake.
yep, you got it.
Um, I started my professional career. This is going to make you laugh, but I was working in a factory and I got laid off, and so I got a job at a convenience store down by my house at nights, which to me was the very definition of dead end. But it actually worked into a career. I started by hand painting signs. Jake was back there a second ago. Corn dogs, three for a dollar, that kind of thing. And whoop, there you
Yep.
go.
There you go.
I couldn't find any of the corn dog signs. Sorry, I really like those. But I could find some of these other ones. And eventually, the owner of the store, this was a chain of convenience store. They had 12 stores located through Utah. He eventually took me on. Go to the next slide, Jake,
You got it.
and
Yep.
made me what he called marketing director. And I did all kinds of things for them. I did all of their print ads. I had to hand sketch everything. If we had ice cream on special or Christmas cards or anything like that, I hand sketched it. I developed products like car cups and boxes and things like that. I wrote our radio commercials. We did events at the store. We did these great big free hot dog days. I did all of that. They closed. Go ahead, Jake. and I went to the Standard Examiner newspaper. This was about 1992, something like that. I went as a spec artist. A spec artist produces ads that are not sold yet so that the salesperson can take them out in his hand and say, "Hey, look what our guy did for you. And this would cost you $30 to run this." Over there on the left hand of the screen, there was a chiropractor, and the salesman wanted like seasonal ads for him with headlines and stuff for Father's Day and that kind of stuff. And those are the things I came up with. I realize how this all looks 40 years down the line, but bear in mind we were doing it all with tools and things like that. I also did some internal communications. You'll see there on the right hand side. That was a flyer urging our carriers to get new subscriptions. Go ahead, Jake. In the optimize and elevate uh, category, they recognized that I had probably some more talent than just working on specs. And they gave me a position called promotions director, where I sold special sections and wrote special sections about natural gas and cookbook. And then I also got to illustrate all of them. I was kind of a one man shop for doing those. That was fun. Good job. Next one. Whoop. I don't know what happened there. Oh, eventually in 1998, they promoted me to marketing director. And as marketing director, I was like an ad agency that had one single client. The idea was to promote everything in the newspaper, get people to subscribe, promote our contact. If you go ahead, I'm sorry, this stuff's all kind of grainy and ugly, but one of the things I did on the left hand side was I did a lot of house ads, we called them, promoting special sections. Was a that was on the left hand side was one for our upcoming Halloween section, and we would do garden things, and that's a billboard for that. So I did a lot of that. I also did special events. You can go to the next slide, Jay. There on the left hand side, we would do a run every year, a 5K run that we gave money to the Heart Association. I did everything from just every part of that run, from coordinating the setup to designing the t-shirt. And I also did a lot of internal communications, including a weekly profile of employees that worked at the newspaper. So go ahead. It was a great job. It was a great job. One of the things I liked about it was we developed things from concept to finished product. Um, we were doing a campaign for our classifieds. We began calling them smart ads. You can see up in the left-hand side, I developed various treatments for a logo. Over on the right-hand side, you can see small ads trying to make the point. Now, at the bottom of the left hand, you can see my concept for a billboard, and you can see how the billboard actually turned out. I'm sorry, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat, so I'm going to drink water too. Go ahead to
That's
the next
it.
one.
So, just a quick question on that
Do it.
slide,
Yeah,
Craig.
yeah,
So, you were, looks like you grew up kind of an early marketplace, sold it, found it,
yeah,
power source. That
yeah.
that kind of your concept for classified, or
Yep, yep. We had this thing called 2 days of ads for $20. So we started calling it 220 Power, and it was Power Source. Eventually, we decided not to use that and go with the smart ads. This is a smart ad, and so you can see the concept is still pretty much the same, but there was just some tweaks to the copy and that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
very cool.
It was a lot of fun. It was a really good job. Unfortunately, getting back to the culture, newspaper culture was pretty tough. Um, you were on deadline, and a very hard deadline every single day. Not only that, but the Standard Examiner published about 13 newspapers there. And so we had weeklies, we had monthlies, we had all this stuff. Um, it was a tough job, and there was not a lot of life balance.
Yeah.
Um, in addition to all of this, the Standard also wanted me to be out in the community, and I'll talk a little more about that. They wanted a representative from the newspaper to sit on like the rodeo committee and help out with some of the local charities and things like that. Mostly, I just figured out what kind of space and editorial content we would donate to those people. But I'll get to what else I did as we get a little.
Yeah. Right.
In 2000, if you go ahead, Jake, in
Yep. You got it.
2006, a friend of mine called me and said she was leaving her position at Ogden Regional Medical Center marketing, and they had been kicking around a bunch of names. I knew her from committees, and she said, "I think you would be good." And so I came and interviewed and took that position. I had never ever thought about working in the medical field. Marketing is marketing, but in medicine, you're selling something people don't want. Uh, all right. I mean, unless you're 8.5 months pregnant, nobody wakes up today and says, "God, I hope I go to the hospital." Or if not me, at least someone I love goes to the hospital today. But it is a necessary thing. It's a necessary need in life, and my job is to make sure that people know we're here when they need us. So, next slide, Jake.
Got it.
I still do tons of collateral, lots of uh, collateral that we pass out at our clinics. I still do billboards, all of that kind of stuff. I still have that graphic design love that is hanging with me. Next slide, Jake.
Yep.
I also, on the left-hand side, I also coordinate doctor lectures. On the right-hand side, I do a lot of internal communications. Go ahead, Jake. I do a lot of special events, coordinating people to be at runs and that sort of thing. And I court the press to write positive articles about us. On the left-hand side, on this, one of my big jobs is reputation management. We watch what people are saying about us online, and we respond to every single review uh, in one way or another. I get alerts every day, and we have a process for doing that. And I also manage our social media there on the right hand side to make sure people know about our new doctors and new service lines. And we keep our social media populated with lots of things. When a nurse gets a BSN, when she elevates her education, we put all that kind of stuff up. I've
Awesome.
always tried to make my communications contain a singular voice, and I like a dash of humor in there too. I never like it to be serious. So go ahead, Jake. Gosh, guys, I'm sorry.
You are fine. You're
John
fine.
mentioned some side hustles, and I've had many. Um, One of the things I did when I was a young man was I did marketing for KJQ and X96 radio. And this was a really fun little side hustle. In 6 years, they never paid me. How it would work was I would design a bumper sticker for them, and then I'd go deliver it to the station, and they'd say, "Go in the closet and get what you want." And they had a closet there that had concert tickets and band T-shirts and CDs and things like that. And I'd come out with an armload, and they'd go, "Oh, you can have some more," or whatever. So I wore a lot of Susie and the Banshee T-shirts, and I went to see REM like 15 times.
Right on.
Uh, I never ever did get a check from it, but I did like working. And it expanded my horizons. When you talk about optimize and elevate, it was a way of optimizing my talents and elevating myself, because when you're working for one company, a newspaper, or a hospital, you start to look at marketing all from those lenses. And this allowed me to look at marketing through a radio lens and those sorts of.
Yeah.
Next one, Mr. Jake, please. Um, about 16 years ago, I became associated with Ogden's Christmas Village. If you don't know what this is, downtown Ogden takes 4 square blocks during Christmas. We move in 70 unique cottages. We string about 1 million lights across the campus, and it's all free. And I became chair. One of the reasons I became chair was, again, to help with the newspaper and those sorts of things, and with the hospital. But if you look over on the left hand side, that's me and my brother and sister at Christmas Village when we were kids. I loved Christmas Village. I wanted to see it continue. I thought it was one of the jewels of our community, and I thought I can help. And I did. And the same with the next slide. Ogden Pioneer Day Rodeo. I'm not a rodeo guy. I ride a horse one day a year in the and I don't own a horse. I have to choose him by name. You know, the stock contractor's like, "Hey, Craig, do you want Wildfire?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "You want Femur Shatter?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "How
So
about
this is
Bubbles?"
you
I'm like,
right
"Yeah,
there.
that's my horse. Bubbles
That's
is
you
my
right there.
horse." I'm
Yeah.
proud to say that in the right-hand corner, you'll see us celebrating that Ogden Pioneer Days is named one of the top 5 rodeos in America out of 600. Um, and that's the Belt Buckle Award we got. Again, I did not grow up in this lifestyle, but I did like going to the rodeo when I was a kid, and it was another way to use my talents and expand my my marketing skill portfolio. I'd never marketed a rodeo. I didn't even know. I had a lot to learn about it. So if we go to the next slide, Jay, I've also been a member of the Ogden Chamber Spikers. We're a welcome group that goes out and visits with group and also goes to new businesses to cut ribbons. Um, a little while ago, I went through my journal and I've done about 400 ribbon cuttings in 30. This is great because it gives me an opportunity to get out into the community and meet new people and have my thumb on what's going on in the community. And I eat a lot of free lunches. You know, they have ribbon cuttings at lunchtime and always feed us. I
Looks
like
like you
that.
get free pins too.
Yeah, I'm not sure. When people say what's with the pins, I always say, well, in our club, you get a pin for every major mistake you make, and I've got more at home.
Looks like you've
Um,
done well with being on pace.
yeah,
I'd have a lot more pins.
yeah. Well, like I say, I have a lot more, and it's kind of silly, but when we go out to ribbon cuttings, it makes it feel like something's happening, and it's an
How
automatic conversation starter.
how do you decide which pins you're gonna keep on and which ones you're like, this goes on the Boy
Yeah.
Scout sash in the
Oh
closet?
man, it's so tough. It's so tough, especially because when we go to the ribbon cuttings, people give me pins and they'll go, "I want this on your jacket." But a lot of those have been given to me by my family. Some of them have very deep sentimental meaning, and some of them I like them because they're just cool. Um, I
Yeah.
think I've only bought one pin, and that is the little beer mug down on the right hand corner by the hands of the scissors, and I bought that. It's an Olympic pin for 3-2 beer for, and I just thought it was cool. Oh no, some of them are charities. Like some people say, donate $20 and we'll give you a pin. I do that.
Yeah.
I have a lot of pins. Let's go to the next slide, Jake.
Got it.
Um, one of the things people found out when I started working in the community was Greg likes to be on the microphone. I can read a script. I can improvise. I can make it fun. I've emceed and hosted more than 400 events, lots of them in costume. Go ahead to the next one, Jake.
Got it.
Greg has no sense of shame. You know, if you want to dress me up as a duck or whatever, I'll do it. If it raises money for your charity, I'll help. Next one, Jake. I've also I was going to say the pictures are missing. Ogden City has a television show called Crowd Surfing where we go out to Ogden events, and I've done 76, and it has been a ride in all kinds of adventures.
Yeah, I've got to ask in the top left, what are you doing in the water?
That's really funny. They had cleaned up Ogden River, and to make my point, I got in the river to show them that it was cleaned up. That was the riskiest thing I did on television, not because of not for me drowning, but like exposing the public to my nasty feet. That that has to have been a great risk.
It was a very calculated decision, right? You
Yeah,
know, did we do it or
we were
no?
real careful about that. Go ahead to the next one, Jay. I'm telling you this stuff for oh,
Yeah.
I did so many ribbon cuttings. I put it in there twice.
Yeah.
Go ahead to
Yeah.
the next one. I've also had the opportunity to be in a whole bunch of TV, movie, and YouTube commercials. If you look down there on the left, that's me falling off of a table for all.
Oh,
Um, people thought I did a really good job acting like I got hurt. I got hurt. Uh,
you weren't acting?
Yeah, it wasn't acting. I got hurt. That's a long, funny story. And again, folks, I am telling you this for a reason. I'll talk. Keep going ahead, Jake. And somewhere around 26 years ago, I started doing comedy, and I've had a really fun career doing that. I'm glad that I just do it part time because being a full time comic is a very hard job. I've had good luck, knock on wood. I could write a book about the things that's happened. Um, a lady came out of the stage and punched my opening guy out one night. A lady freaked out on me one night and shut a show down 5 minutes into the show. Uh, just all kinds of adventures. I love it. Um, I don't have enough time for it. Um, and it's pretty tough to, uh, because comedy is something that you have to do all the time. There is essentially no way to practice comedy. You can write your lines and say them all you want sitting in your room, but you'll never know how it's going to work until you put it in front of an audience. And
Yeah.
you got to try the line 30 times before you'll know if the audience is going to like it. And sometimes you rearrange where you put the word, sometimes you rearrange the setup. You really got to work to make it work. The one thing I do like about it is it's just me. Um, I'm not relying on anybody else. There's no team or anything there. It's just Craig getting through that. So go ahead, next slide, Jake.
Yeah.
I couldn't even begin to guess how many times I've been on a morning show for Christmas Village, spoken to groups at seminars about marketing or hospital. I just don't even know. I could count them up. I keep a journal, by the way, a daily journal of what I
Ooh.
do, and I've done that for 22 years, like that. I wish
Wow.
I'd done it my whole.
Wow.
Go ahead, the next one, Jakey.
Got it.
So a couple of things that I've learned along the way, and this is kind of just advice. I'd say always keep your eyes open because you never know where or when or how or who an opportunity or door will open. Always be prepared, have your resume and contact list ready to go. No matter how happy you are at your job, you should be ready to go tomorrow because guess what? You might. Uh, be brave. Growth comes from outside your comfort zone. A lot of these things just were not they I'm a naturally comfortable extrovert. I love to be around people. I love to be in front of people. I want to meet everybody. I want to talk to everybody. Um, but there are a lot of things that were not in my comfort zone. As a marketing
Yeah.
director, I'm required to look at a lot of data, and I'm terrible at it. And that is something that really pushes me. And I've tried over the years. I really have worked at taking courses in statistics and things like that, but it's not in my wheelhouse, although it's
Mhm.
required. Network like crazy. And when I first started out, a guy pulled me in the hallway one of my very first days, and he said, "You know what?" He said, "You've got the kind of personality and the kind of talents to make yourself indispensable." He says, "If you're indispensable, you're indispensable, and people will always think of cutting you very last." Um, Speaking to John with the culture at the hospital has been great, and I'll tell you, culture starts at the very top. One of the reasons I came to Ogden Regional was we have an exceptional leader here. Our CEO, uh, in 18 years in a hospital environment, I have heard one colleague confrontation where a voice was raised. At the newspaper, I heard those pretty much every day.
Mhm.
Again, being on deadline and strong opinions and those sorts of things. But the culture here at the hospital is good, and I think that trickles down to our patients. I hear it all the time that we're a much kinder and gentler hospital, and people like that. I can't remember what's next, Jake, but go ahead. Oh, if I'm offering you guys any advice, take any education or training opportunity that is offered, especially the things for free because you might not think you might get some training in, I don't know, driving a forklift that might be offered like a half day class. And you're like, I'm never going to drive a forklift. You might not, but you might be called on to write a blog about driving a forklift. You might be called on to, uh, you know, do some training in some other area, and you can use the forklift training as a story.
Mhm.
I always say help others reach their goals, mentor people if you can. I make a joke to be nice to everyone on the way up because you'll be seeing these people on your way down. And that comes from being laid off a couple of times at jobs. And then the final one, to speak to your point, John, keep a good work life balance. The reason I showed you all of those activities that I did, that obviously requires a lot. And I think I do a pretty good job of it. My wife will probably disagree. And her and I have disagreements all the time. But I do have some cardinal rules. I don't take any comedy or any gigs on anybody's birthday, no holidays, no New Year's. I don't take comedy or any other gigs on the weekend before anybody's birthday because I know that's when we probably will get together. I would never take a goal. I turn gigs down all the time for my wife and I's anniversary because it's right by Valentine's Day. And I always ask my wife if she cares if I do this thing on this night. And we have a family calendar where I write and I remind her about it. That minimizes the damage. It doesn't it doesn't take care of it all
Yeah.
because you're still spending time away from your family. My children felt like we had a pretty good balance, but they did point out that there was a lot of times that they were just home with mom and they would have rather that dad was around. A lot of what I did was part of my job. Both the Standard Examiner and the Ogden Regional have said, we want you to be the face in the community. We want when somebody starts talking about healthcare, we want your face to come to mind. I don't know why this face. I think this is not a great face, but and that has happened. When I worked for the newspaper, my phone often rang at 10 o'clock at night with somebody wanting to talk about an editorial in the paper, or they wanted to know if we'd sponsor their run or whatever. Um, so I most of the time I never feel like I'm completely at work, but I
Mhm.
never feel like I'm completely off either. It's kind of an
Yeah.
integrated thing, John. At
Very
any
good.
time, at any time, the pie chart is it has different balance, but there's still different colors in the pie chart.
Yeah.
Um,
It
I
seems to me, Craig, that resonate about your that it more than a hand, your life really feeling in it in the community.
it was with the newspaper because the newspaper is supposed to be the Standard Examiner is supposed to be a reflection of the community. And that's one of the reasons that they were saying, I want you at every event, even if you're just walking through the door. I want you out at the Hof Winter Festival, even if you just sit down and have a hot dog and a beer.
Yeah.
And I want you to tell people you're from the Standard Examiner. I love it. Publisher used to say all the time, I love it when you're hosting an event and you get up there and you say, I'm Craig Bielik with Standard Examiner. My other boss here at Ogden Regional loves that too. Um, I'll be in an event and somebody will corner me now and say, "Do you guys take my insurance at your hospital?"
Yeah.
Um, so again, it's an integrated thing. But at the newspaper, I decided this is what I can do. This will be Craig's little niche. I will be a voice and a sense of fun in our community, and that's what that's what I'll do. And I'm pretty well known for it. I don't. That sounds arrogant. I don't mean to make, but it is true.
You
Was
you didn't say that. imagine have a lot of friends.
Some. I don't know that we have that far of reach, but
Hmm.
I do have a lot of Weber County, especially Davis County, a little, and Salt Lake City County a lot. Oh, I didn't mention, but the first 12 years that I worked for Ogden Regional, I had two hospitals, Brigham City Community
Mhm.
Hospital and Ogden Regional. So I was doing equal things up in Brigham.
Cool.
Um, as far as keeping the work-life balance, the one thing I've had going for me is I love this.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my jam. This is what I love. I
Yeah.
love to be out with people. I like to be influencing people, changing their minds. I like to make people laugh. Um, I said a little while ago and somebody once told me that there's two super important days of your life: the day you're born and the day you figure out why. And about 15 years ago, I figured out that my purpose is to spread joy and make
Mhm.
make anyone's encounter with me joyful and better. And when I really feel like I've failed, when I really get down on myself, is when I feel like I didn't.
Yeah.
So, that's why I am like if I can put my head down on the pillow and say, "Oh my gosh, I was walking a lady to a room in the hospital today, not my job, but I was doing it, and I made a joke and she laughed really hard, and she said, "Oh my gosh, thank you, that helps." And then she went into a room where, I don't know, her spouse is dying, her child is in a coma, maybe her brother-in-law got a knee replacement and he's just feeling a little uncomfortable. If I help that person, then hooray, Craig, way to go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Something I gotta say there is
Jake, if you
John's
go to the
kind of
next slide, um,
yeah.
is there a next slide?
There
Oh,
yeah, there are a few.
I don't know if I put in the slides I thought. The next step for me is I will be retiring on January of this.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Woo.
I intend on keeping all of my committees, putting my hands in a couple of other things, but I want to spend more time. I have five grandchildren. I have a mountain bike. I got skis. I want to pursue my lifelong dream of being a male exotic dancer.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah, John. I would make $3 if my mom.
That's two more than me.
Yeah, if mom was there, I'd make $3. Everybody would be all these girls would be up front with money going, this isn't a tip, this is to get that fixed,
Yeah.
Fun,
hey, if you guys have a few
fun.
minutes, I want to show you a couple of things. Working at the newspaper, I made a huge collection of screwed up headlines and things like that, and this is also a learning experience. This first one's something I call don't put anything in your ad if it doesn't need to be there. This is wanted mimes, no phone calls, please. I hope you guys know what a mime is.
I do. And
Go ahead, Jake. Here's your hanging pot and pain rack, perfect for the cook and the masochist at your house. Super Saver Store is currently accepting applications for a night stalker.
Must be able to lift 50
Yeah,
pounds.
you must be able to lift 50 pounds. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah.
Idaho man brings fits in Davis. Charges say harasser tried to ram a Centerville house with a. I don't know about you guys. If I was going to if I was going to ram a house, I'd use a bulldozer and go the next one. He doesn't look crazy, does he?
No, he's a normal guy, man. Normal
Go
guy.
ahead, Jake. Oh, if only I could see what's going on inside my ears. Well, down below, that's great, but this company offers a guided tour of your rear canal.
rough.
Yeah, the Kimber Academy, a private institution, great little school. Why? They teach an LSD based curriculum.
Very colorful.
That
Yeah.
is, yeah, only
Yeah.
mean to field trip, huh? Next. Oh, Rams coach can sleep better with quarterback. Probably not the greatest choice of words. This one, there's a bunch of elderly people dancing on a shuttleboard court with a giant pink bunny rabbit. It's the headline right below. Mentally ill men share court. I thought it was funny. Go to the next one. Hey kids, you better not miss seeing me at the Cache Valley Mall. Come on down for Satan's arrival.
Yeah.
This
Some
is a lesson
typos
we
there. Yeah.
call don't rely on someone to finish your work. Kaysville Garage Sale, crafts, tools, household goods. She will be calling back to let us know what other stuff she wants in the ad. Erase all this crap and start after great stuff.
Well,
I'm not y'all, Jake. I'm sorry. I
oh,
think that
you're
might be
totally
all.
fine. Usually, about now, we open the room up for questions. We've got about 7 people on right now. And so, if anyone
Shoot.
wants to click the raise hand button over in that left hand corner, that will allow us to pull you up and you ask Craig a question.
Shoot
I
it.
know we sure have a
I'd love to hear your questions. I hope I just gave you just a really quick uh,
yeah,
glimpse at how I climbed the ladder, so to speak. And
yeah.
I didn't start out. You might notice I'm not highly educated. I have no training in comedy or TV or anything like that. I just had some connections and had a little bit of ability to do it.
And you made John laugh, so his quotas might be going up like his goal.
Right.
Good deal,
Absolutely.
John.
Well, and
Good deal.
I would venture to say that you had the foresight to go after. Look at what you've done. Keenly. It's things that you took on by seeking them. All right. Quick car or quick
It was car quick with two K's.
car
Car
quick. All right.
and they were very good to me. They just sold their company and the owner didn't want to get in it, and the new owners didn't have a place for me. And that goes to my point of be ready to go because I was happy where I was and felt really great. And then one afternoon I didn't have it.
It's interesting how you look at one door closing and an opening, and having the thought, how do I make the best? I think really overall, when we talk about integrate work and mindset, more so than an action. So it's not physical action. How I think of what I do during the day, what I do. Those might be life at night and work during the day, or it might be life during the night. Either way, if you have a mindset of I'm going in and enjoy what I do, that's not so much work anymore, right?
Absolutely, you hit the nail right on the head. And going back to the optimize and elevate, there I was working as a sign painter in convenience store. I was literally sitting in the back on milk crates and buying jugs of tempera paint and poster paper each week and painting things. And I cornered the owner one day and said, you're doing some newspaper advertising, and I think I could do it better.
Hmm.
And he gave me a chance. And when he brought me on full time, he said, "Do you think you can write a radio commercial?" And I said, "Think so." You know, and took a stab at it. A lot of those things I wouldn't even want to show anybody now because they're really not very good. But it was an opportunity to optimize the tools I had in the box,
Yeah.
and then also elevate the convenience stores. We got a lot busier after I started, working,
Yeah.
um, especially when we started selling like discount tickets for the ski lifts and all of that stuff. Um, it's what you can do well. Just figure out a way to do it. I can tell you right now, when I was in college as an art student, I had no clue what I was going to do. I wanted to work in advertising, but surprise, surprise, in the early 80s, Ogden, Utah was not a hotbed for advertising agencies.
Right?
Um, I thought I might end up selling my paintings on the sidewalk or teaching art or something.
Yeah.
Um, I took a job, very definition of the word dead end job, nights in a convenience store, and a door unexpectedly opened.
Yeah. I want to go back to some of that art because I just think it's incredible. And again, the room is open for questions. So
Yeah, shoot questions.
hand raise buttons over there. Question I have for you is was there, oh, great. Hey, this is someone you're going to like.
Me?
Yeah. Here we go.
Hey, Alex.
Hey,
Long time
Craig.
no see.
Yeah, man, how you been?
Oh man, I've been great.
Very
Yep,
good.
yep. I'm above dirt. All days above dirt are great.
Indeed.
Yeah,
So I
I
kind
had
of,
a chance to meet Alex. I don't know, about a year or so ago, and I
yeah.
bump into you once in a while. You're a talented guy. What's on your mind, man?
Well, I kind of missed the first segment about your rise to power, I guess. Um, I,
Well, I'll give you a synopsis. I was born the son of Zeus and Venus, and enabled with lightning bolt hands and the ability to stop time. That's been quite an advantage.
that 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 would come in handy.
I'm sorry, Alex. You have a serious question.
I was just curious about, in addition to building up a community, belonging to a community, and seeking out all forms of education, what is some general advice you would give to young people?
I went over a little bit of it, and most of it is just keep your eyes peeled, and make sure that you're watching for opportunities. Don't be afraid to offer to optimize and elevate your skills. One piece of advice I would give you, and this goes back to being a spec artist, if you think you can do a better newspaper ad than the one that the owner's using, go to him with it in your hand, okay,
Mm,
and show him. If you have an idea to improve uh, the process at your coffee shop or something like that, demonstrate it. Don't just say, "Hey, I've got an idea." Um, Network. Make sure you keep good connections with people, and make sure people know your talents, and work hard. And then again, this guy told me, make yourself indispensable. That goes back to take whatever training comes your way, because you might be the guy that knows how to drive a forklift, and then they decide to shut the forklift line down, but you're the one guy that had training on the pizza oven or whatever, and there's a spot for you. And it takes a lot of work, um, but you'll get there. That's the other thing is work, and you'll get there.
Work,
Great
thank you,
advice,
man.
huh?
Yeah,
work
always.
hard, work harder, right?
Yeah, work. They always say work smarter, not harder.
That's
I
right. That's
I
right.
don't know that I've been able to figure that out. The other thing, Alex, is try if you can to do what you like, and also try to like what you do. You know, I talk to people. A lot of my friends have retired, and one of the things I hear from them is, I was pretty good at it, but I hated it. So I
I hear
just
that from a
wonder.
lot of people.
Yeah, I hear people say, "Oh, I was a teacher, but I never liked it." Oh gosh,
Mm.
I'm hoping you
Mhm.
won't ever have to say that.
Mm-mm.
Again, I've been really fortunate, really lucky. I somehow found my way into stuff I just love. I don't love it every day. I'm not a big fan of it today, as a matter of fact. But um, I won't. I very few times went home thinking I got to get out of this. I mostly went home thinking, "Gosh, that was really tough. I hope that doesn't happen again. How can I be prepared if it does?" And I'm a drummer, so my advice is when you're having a bad day, hit something with a stick.
I like that. I like that.
You're a drummer also?
Yeah, not a great one.
Ending.
Yeah,
lot
I'm a
of, a lot
drummer.
of talents coming out.
No, I don't know about that. I've got the hearing aids to prove I'm a drummer.
What's that?
Yeah, I destroyed my hearing.
We have
Um,
a
I
we have a
don't know,
que-
Alex. What are you what are you interested in? Alex is
Oh gosh. Um, I'd really like to start producing some type of music this year, in addition to, yeah, Jake knows. Uh,
you need a
in
drummer?
addition to, sure, yeah, I'm always looking for beats, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's way easier to produce music nowadays, and there's a much bigger market for it, but there's a lot more competition.
For sure.
You know,
we-
in the old days, you had to go into a studio to get your music heard. You can do it right from where you're sitting right now. Problem is, everybody can do that, so there's a lot of competition out. But
It's true. There's a
uh,
lot of noise.
start thinking about why are you unique? What is it that makes your music special? And can you find a niche? Can you be known as the guy that writes the best songs about
Mhm.
burritos in the entire world?
No, I was thinking about Bo Burnham the other day. He really settled into a niche really well, and to this day has maintained it in a way that, like, his social commentary is very sharp, but his music is also like just expertly together.
Yeah,
And that's been Bo Burnham's pretty consistent qualities.
yeah. I'll never be on Comedy Central or HBO, but I can make a room full of 50 people laugh and go home feeling good. So I will never make a living at comedy, but it will always be something I enjoy and help me with my mission.
Yeah, next week we'll see Craig Bielik on Netflix.
Man, I sure hope you do. I sure hope you do. Yeah,
you
yeah,
might not see him on Netflix, but you will see him doing a comedy show at his
oh yeah,
usual grounds for charity.
yeah.
Ooh.
What's that at? Tell us about
It's
that.
yeah. Jake has helped me put this together. In fact, I helped Jake. This was his idea.
Oh, I begged
Um,
him to come on. I said, please, I'll do marketing for you.
at Wise Guys Ogden on November 12th at 7 p.m. We're
Ooh.
doing a benefit show for the Catholic Community Services Food Bank. So it's $20. All that money's going to the food bank. We got three great comics. Well, we got two great comics and Craig. That's what the show should have been called. I'm a marketing guy. Two great comics and Craig. Um, uh, and everybody's donating their time. Wise Guys is donating the club. All the bucks are heading over to the food bank. You get a belly full of laughs, and somebody gets a belly full of food. I think that's a pretty good deal.
It sounds
And
like a great event.
Okay.
What a great cause.
yeah,
Thank you for that effort.
sure, sure. And I've done that a lot. And again, it's one of the ways that I can optimize and elevate my talents. I can be funny in front of a crowd and raise money for food.
Mhm.
Awesome. I know we're up against time. I want to thank you, Craig, for joining us.
Oh,
What a
my
great
pleasure.
conversation we've had, and I look
My
forward
pleasure, John. When you guys invited me, the first thing that came to my mind is, wow, who canceled? Um,
to. Absolutely not. We made a special event just for you, my friend.
well, I hope it was worth it.
It was absolutely worth it. Thank you for your time. Just to let everybody know, you're welcome to stay on and chat as long as you want. I'm going to end our recording. So, with that, Craig, thanks for your time again. And again, everybody stay on if you'd like.